On today's episode, I have Sophie Mason all the way from the UK. She is here to talk all about Lash Fest. If you haven't heard of it, it's definitely something you want to check out as a lash artist. She has different shows in Toronto, Texas, as well as the UK. So let's jump into this episode and learn more about Sophie and her story. Hello and welcome to another podcast of Beauty Behind the Brand. We've got Sophie here all the way from the UK. She's here to tell us her story on how she started one of the soon to be, I guess, or going to be one of the largest in-person events that we have just around the lash industry alone. So I'll let Sophie take the floor here and introduce herself and tell us more about her story of where she is today.
Hi, so I'm Sophie. I have been in the lash industry for forever, really. Since it was brand new and baby, like classic lashes that you had on your tray next to you, and it was only classic lashes, and you had to pick them up. Yeah, like straight from the beginning, 15 years, maybe a bit longer than that. Um, and yeah, that's where my journey begun. And I worked in a salon with my cousin for a lot of my career. And I can remember worrying about when the lash trend was going to end.
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I'd built like my whole clientele up around lashes, and can remember, yeah, probably 2 or 3 years in thinking, okay, this is going to stop at some point. What am I going to do then? What treatments am I going to do? Where are all my clients going to go? And just, yeah, it being a thought and a worry. And I've got a really good visual of it as well. Like I can remember where I was in the salon, like having that moment. Um, and I've obviously just watched it explode into its own sector, really, of the beauty industry. It's kind of like we've got hair, we've got beauty, and we've got lashes now. Like it's become its own sector, and that's only going to get bigger. So it's really, 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 really crazy. Um, but yeah, so I worked in my cousin's salon for forever, up until about 2018. Um, I left and then I went traveling. I had every thought that I was going back to the salon. And I was swinging in a hammock in Belize and just thought, do you know what? I'm not going to go back. I'm going to do my own thing. So we got home after 4 or 5 months of traveling, built my business. It was January, I got about 3 weeks in and remember saying to my mum, oh, I'm bored, I'm going back to the salon. And she said to me, Sophie, it's January, you've been home 3 weeks. Like, why would you go back now? Like, at least give it to the end of February. I was like, okay, I'll give it to the end of February. And then I didn't look back. I built basically like an Uber style lash business for my local area. So I had girls that would all book in through me and they would go to people's houses and that kind of thing. I was in the process of having the app built when we went, like the proper app built for it when we were hit by COVID. And that just made me completely reevaluate what I was doing. Other than traveling, I don't think anyone had had that much time on their hands. Um, so I threw myself into learning about the online world because at that point I posted on Instagram a couple of times a week and had about four or 500 followers, nothing much. My business was built on word of mouth, and our local area has a really great Facebook group, as well for beauty treatments and stuff. So my business was built around that and word of mouth. Um, and then so I got into mentoring. I was helping people online. I was selling courses, mentoring them throughout COVID. Made lots of incredible friends through Instagram. along that time. And one day it was in we had three kind of lockdowns in the UK. We had the first one, we then had a short month-long one, which was in the November, and then by the Christmas 2020, I think it was like the week of Christmas, probably around like next week sometime, they literally just said, no, that's it. And I'm near London, and it was really bad in our area. So we got locked down completely before Christmas. Everyone else got up until Boxing Day, I think it was. They could go and have their Christmas, but after Boxing Day, it was back into lockdown. And I think it was the January. I just came downstairs and said to my partner, I'm gonna host the ultimate masterclass. He was like, what on earth is that? I was like, I don't really know, but I'm just gonna get some of the girls together that I've met over Instagram, and I'm gonna hold an event for Lash artists at the end of the year. And he just thought I was crazy, went into panic mode about it, because couldn't even see your mum at that point. And there was me saying that I was going to take good money off of people for something that might never happen. My mum as well, when I told my mum, her jaw nearly hit the floor, but I did it. It happened, and it was amazing. And I haven't looked back since. So it's been a crazy whirlwind. And now we've just done our third one, which was in Toronto. We've got London, Toronto, and Dallas next year. It's gone a bit crazy, really, really crazy, but really, really exciting. So that's probably it in a nutshell.
There you go. There's so many takeaways just from like just that summary basically of where you started and where you are now. There's so many things I think that you get out of pausing, like
Yeah,
from vacation and even COVID. Like you said, we had so much time on our hands and trying to figure out what truly made us happy. And
yeah,
especially in the beauty industry, I feel like there was so many people that did take that pause and kind of reevaluate why they were doing what they were doing in the beauty industry. Um,
definitely.
and as your story says it all, with yes, swinging in a hammock, but then again, when it came to COVID, of taking that pause and kind of figuring out what your true why was in the industry.
Definitely, definitely. And the thing that I learned most from traveling was, so I'd worked in my cousin's salon since I was like 13, and I idolized her. So I would spend my weekends with her, or my school holidays. So like all I've done with my free time really since that age was work. Um so and be around her. I mean, she's like a workaholic and all of that. So, and I'd always had this like this I'm going to use the word irritation. I don't necessarily mean irritation, but like this thing inside of me that wanted to like break free. I
Mhm.
didn't necessarily, I was very good at my job. Like I managed the girls. I'm very target driven and goal orientated and stuff like that. So I was great, but it just felt too constricting. Um, but I didn't know any different.
Miskoka Beauty wants to thank everyone for listening to our podcast, and we're offering 15% off your first bottle of Lash and Brow Serum by Miskoka Beauty. Now, if you haven't heard, or if you haven't tried, or seen before and afters, or even seen reviews, you're definitely going to want to head to miskoka.com and click onto our lash serum to actually read some of the reviews, because this product is unbelievable. It will enhance your natural length and your brows as well, making them more full and absolutely gorgeous. So head over to miskoka.com and type in promo code Beauty Brand Podcast 15. Once again, that's Beauty Brand Podcast 15. Happy shopping and happy lashing.
So it wasn't until we went away and I was like, okay, so this is freedom and this is I think, what I've been after this whole time. So I came home chasing that freedom, and I obviously got it to a point where I was like my own boss and I could work the hours that I wanted to work. But we all know that the reality of that is very different when you've got clients back to back. You've still got 10 to 12, I mean, well, I don't know how many people you would do a day, but say 6 to 10 people relying on you to do their treatments for them every single day. So yes, you've not got expectations of a boss, but you have still got expectations of all of your clients, and rightly so. So you kind of think, oh yeah, I'm gonna be my own boss and gonna do whatever it is I want to do. But the reality is very different. And I thought I was going to get that, and I would have got it eventually with doing the app. I still think it's a great idea. But equally, I look back at it now, I'm like, God, I think that would have been a headache and something, it would have taken me further away from my true goal, even though I thought it was going to get me there. So I'm incredibly, I'm incredibly grateful for the time and space that COVID gave me. Good things sometimes can come out of bad situations, and as horrific as it was for many people, there are good points and takeaways for people as well from it, like the time and the space to reevaluate what it is that you actually want from life.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those things of like realizing you're kind of starting from square one. Like I know with our brick and mortar as well as like our lash line and stuff as well, it was kind of like, okay, let's dial in and like look at the numbers as a business owner too. Like usually we don't like looking at the numbers and knowing the realization of what's truly happening behind the scenes with our business. But yeah, it kind of gave us a space to emotionally figure it out, like for ourselves and our why, like I said, or like the business and seeing what made sense, like what you were saying with having the mobile with the app too. It was like, is this really what I want to do? It kind of give you that pause, because you probably would have still run with it even right, like
100%.
Moved forward.
Yeah, like I was doing it, it was happening. The app was just like the shiny object to kind of tie it all in together to make the process better and smoother and easier than it would than what I was doing at that time.
I'm wondering like what it's like to go get it. Like, did you have to physically get like software engineers to like make this app for you, or how was like that process when you were going through that?
Yeah, so it was literally like hunting down, well, I say hunting, I'm lucky in the sense of having connections, but yeah, it was finding somebody that can build it, that understood what it was that you wanted to go through, like do and build, and that you liked and trusted to be able to do it, because it's quite a vision as well.
It's like Uber for aesthetics, right? So it's
yeah, that's exactly what it was, and it was starting with lashes, but I obviously envisaged it growing to beyond that at some point. But yeah, you've got to start somewhere, and lashes is like the thing that I know inside out, upside down, and that had a calling for it.
I feel like you never do anything on a small scale. Looking at what you were going to do with the app to now you're like London, Toronto, Texas, like international with everything. So with that too, with like the Instagram community, that's how I found you, was when we had helped sponsor like the Toronto event. I can't say enough about this community on social media. Like I think of like our parents' ages, right, where they didn't have social media and where you could just literally send someone, you can talk to anyone, right, on social media. And I watched your community grow. Like I feel like I was pretty early on, watching from some of the first events you guys had, and now you're international, you're everywhere. So tell me kind of the process of how that all started. Where kind of the idea sparked and
So I guess it began uh, it began with the thought and the sense of we want to move to BC.
okay.
So it kind of had that like, oh, could I do this in Canada? And then I reached out to, and then it was kind of like it was tabled. It was like oh, I could do this. And I don't think I'd even done the first one by that point. It was just like oh yeah, the options. And then I spoke to Blaze from Lashivo and Caitlin from Lost Artistry about coming to London. And both of them were like, oh yeah, we haven't got anything like this in Canada. It'd be really good. Like Blaze had said, oh, I thought about doing it. I think you should do it. So I just kind of thought, okay, well, how hard can it be?
Mhm.
um, and that was it. I just threw myself into a venue, uh, out to anyone and everyone that I could in Canada, and just to start building relationships really. Um, yeah, I should have done that beforehand. Was when I had the thoughts, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Um, when things are quite fast moving, it's one of those things. But yeah, that's how that came about. I couldn't decide between Vancouver or Toronto, but I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what the clinch was there. What made me decide on Toronto in the end. But we picked Toronto, and rest is history.
That's amazing. It's so neat to like going. So we did one of the ESI spa convention shows back in 2019, I guess it was, and early 2020. We did Toronto and Vancouver too. And it was just so interesting hearing like from Toronto to like Vancouver, the difference in lash artists. Like I
Yeah,
found there was just like a different type of community in each one of them.
yeah,
It's just so interesting to hear like everyone just come together from like coast to coast, and even like on social media you can kind of visually be part of these events and see what it's all about. Like some of your content is unbelievable with like the videos and like the summary of the events, and it's
yeah.
so well done. You've done an incredible job on every part of it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, a lot of the videos that I'm sharing, especially now at the moment, are all the videos that the girls make, which I'm so
Oh,
thankful for, because, like you said, without social media, um, I wouldn't have that content.
mhm.
And yeah, it's like through the person's eye
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that's going to be there. So it's really, really powerful. Um, and I love looking back at it as well. Like I went through on like my repost app, just and went through all my tagged videos, looking at them and just watching them, and the feels that you feel on all their captions and stuff afterwards. It's like, God, that's really powerful.
Oh, and you feel like you've done your part, right? You've made that
Yeah,
vision come true, and you've gotten the following, but yet the community. I feel like that's a huge thing with the Lash community is it's incredible.
definitely,
Like
definitely.
and like
Yeah,
you said,
community is what it's all about.
and like you said, it's become its own category in the beauty industry. Like you've got hair salons, you've got nail salons, but now there's like pure lash studios, people who are just a lash artist, but there's like so much potential in the
Yeah.
industry, and it's still so young. It's so early on too, because you look at how long hair salons have been around, you look at how long nail salons have been around, but lashes is just starting.
Just starting. And this is when people say about, oh, is the market saturated? I'm like, we haven't even started
Mhm.
yet.
So
Like,
true.
and as much as people, when people say, oh, it's saturated, I'm always like, but is it? Because most of the people that train don't even become lash artists because they don't even give it the time that they need to break through that horrible barrier that you have to get through when
Oh,
you
yeah.
first start. So you can't even, like, most of those don't even make it through. And then as people come up, other people leave. Like, I don't lash anymore, and I've got lots of friends that don't lash anymore because they've built other sectors to their business. They're just training, or they've just got they're just business mentoring or lash brands. So as much as people are coming in, people are also graduating out of it as well, which people, I think, forget.
That's so true. I actually forgot about that till you mentioned, because I used to lash as well, and now I don't anymore, but I'm in other sectors of the lash industry. But that's so
Yeah.
true, because I feel like, and to kind of think of like when we first started, like I remember picking up in the individual pods, there was no such thing as like strips on a tray. They were in the little
No.
individual pods, and trying to pick those up with tweezers. Oh my gosh. I kind of
Yeah.
I look back to how we started to what it is now, and just how in the past, like I think I took my course close to 10 years now, and it's looking back and it's like, wow, that's how we started to where we are now in just that small amount of time, how much it's revolved and
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I mean, can you remember dropping one of those pots on the floor and just watching all of those lashes hit the
Oh
floor, and just your heart would sink. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. I remember vacuuming and seeing, I was like, wow, that's a lot of lash sets I could have done with those lashes.
yeah.
No, it's so,
Yeah.
so crazy looking back. And two, I feel like with education, like you said, there's so many, not so many, but there is a lot of people that take the course because it is an art, right? You have to
Yeah.
spend the time. Everyone has different styles and techniques. That's why we are artists. That's how I always explain it to our students.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at who ends up actually pursuing it out of a class of 10 people, let's say, how many people actually pursue to keep lashing is
Yeah.
a great point too. Like, yeah, there might be 10 people that sign up and it might sound saturated, but how many of those people are actually going to go and pursue it? It's like any course you take in university or college, right? How many
Yeah.
people are actually going to end up being in that career after they graduate from that specific course?
Exactly. And I think as well, like, you assume that everybody has the same goals as you. Like, everybody wants to be really successful, and they want to make impact and become like an authority in the industry, and they want to be well known. But that's not true. Like, that's a small percentage of people that want to make a name for themselves. And then you've got the people that want to earn a bit of extra money on the side, or
Yeah.
just want something to do around their children, or yeah, like, it's just not every, or they don't even want to go into it full time. So it's just having that outside perspective a little bit, or that zoomed out perspective on the situation, and actually, okay, just because 10 people are here, probably only 3 of them will end up doing lashes full time.
That's actually, I find too, like that's a huge, like that side hustle mentality, right? I feel like a lot of
Hmm.
people like that security of having their full-time job and then
Yeah.
having that kind of side hustle, yeah, to help like with if they have children or like help, pay for groceries or, those extra
Yeah.
large expenses. And I feel like I just know I'm one of the people that if I'm going to do something, it's hard for me not to do it all the way. But I remember
Yeah.
telling my mom I wanted to take this lash course, and she's like, "What? You're gonna glue plastic things on people's eyelashes?" She was like, "Okay." She's like, "Okay, well, I'm for the school fund, but let's see like what's actually gonna come of this." And her and I were just actually talking on the phone the other day about this, and she's like, "I just think back to how it just started from that simple course, right? You just think of, I mean, a lot of different courses are done differently, but I think of this 2-day lash course I took and to what I've kind of become in the industry. But then I even look at yourself, Sophie, too, where you started literally 13 years old working in a salon to now doing these international, like it just blows my mind of how we can take the beauty world anywhere. And it's just
Yeah.
changing in a good way. I feel like 2023 is going to be a great year for the beauty industry too.
Definitely. I always say that, I mean, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but I imagine it's similar. In the UK, if you go into beauty, it's kind of like a bit of a wasted thing, or you're just doing it because you don't know what to do, or you've not done very well at school.
I feel like
And
that's the
I,
same everywhere. I feel
yeah,
like I
yeah.
agree on that.
And I can remember saying to my teachers, "Oh, I'm gonna study beauty," and them just being like, "Why on earth are you gonna do that?"
Mhm.
Like, I I was I'm an intelligent person. Like, I was a high achiever in school. My mum and dad being like, "Really? That's, you can be anything and you're gonna do that?" It's like, yeah. And at that time, like, as I said, I was at my cousin's salon. I'm 16 years old. I idolize her. She's doing amazing things, and she's offering me a job, pay, money, all of that. I'm 16. Why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
But now I look and I'm like, yeah, like, look what you can actually achieve. And I think that the women that go into the beauty industry have are some of the most entrepreneurial women out there. So motivated, so driven. And yeah, like, underrated, completely underrated.
I totally agree with you. I was like I wasn't as smart as you. You sound very smart. I was in school. I definitely struggled. So I knew I wasn't really going to be able to go to traditional college or university, but I ended up just taking a 6-month aesthetic career because I'm a full esthetician as well as nail tech and lash tech. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was one of those things where I was telling people, because my mom's a hairdresser, and I was
yeah,
like, oh, I think I'm going to get into the beauty industry. And like, people are like, why? Like really? Like, yeah, it was the exact same thing, kind of like belittled me, made me sound like, oh, that's kind of like like the last resort kind of thing. But yeah,
yeah. Like, you'll never make any money and all of that. And
yeah.
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, now I have some friends that are still in school that are just graduating now, and it just like blows my mind in the sense of like how people belittle industries without knowing anything about them, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But the
Yeah, and just,
entrepreneur point is so true because I think of how many female entrepreneurs I know, and I would say 90% of them are in the beauty industry. Well, also because maybe I'm in the industry, I know that community more so, but I feel like it's revolved so much of like that community in the beauty industry as well as lashes. Like everyone's so supportive.
yeah,
Um, and even like what we're doing today, like jumping on and actually just having a conversation about it. Um,
yeah,
but
powerful.
like it is something where you can take a lash course and run with it. Like the sky's the limit. There's no glass ceiling that's going to stop.
No, there really isn't, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like, if you want to do it, go after it and do it, and but do it with all of your might, do it with all the power. If you're gonna do it, yeah, just go wholeheartedly into it, and you really can achieve
If
anything.
you're a busy person like most of us and forget to take your vitamins every morning, Cara Vitamins has made it extremely easy to remember. What I personally do is I just put the box beside my coffee maker because we all know I can't forget my coffee in the morning. And I make sure that my everyday vitamins are ready to go, either if I'm on the go and/or I throw them in my purse. It's a great way to keep them all in a compact space, as well as keeping your cupboards and cabinets clean and simple. Now, with my promo code capital NME7GR, you will receive 50% off your first order. Now, another great thing I love about this business is they really care about you. Now, when you go online, they're going to ask you questions of why you need vitamins or what you're really needing in your everyday life. Personally, we all need a little bit of extra energy, maybe some extra magnesium, things like that. And this is a great way to keep the questions out of your mind when going to the grocery store and/or a drugstore to pick up your vitamins. Now, once again, that promo code is capital NME7GR for 50% off your first order.
I remember having a client, and her husband I don't know if he'd lost his job or if he was just really unhappy and left his job. Really, really good job, highly paid. So they were like doing their budgeting. And at that time, she worked she was a paramedic, and she worked a Saturday and one weekend every fortnight. So she didn't work very much at all. Um, so they did their budget, and she was like, "Yeah, you're in the budget." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, you're not an added extra. You're not like I've put you in the budget."
You're
I was like,
essential.
okay, I'm in the budget. I'm that important, but you are. And when I don't know what it's like over there in a moment, but the news. I mean, I don't watch much of the news. It sounds like it's calmed down a little bit, but in October, everyone was just so doom and gloom. Just the recession this and the
Mhm.
recession that, and people are looking for that escape. Like bring them in, be the light in the dark. Like have really light-hearted, fun conversation. Give them a really, really amazing experience, and you'll not only be like a lash tech to them, but you're going to be like like, I mean, we are counselors anyway, but you're
Yeah.
going to be like a mindset break.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be that light, the lightness when their husbands are coming home and everyone's lost their job and this, that, and the other. But
Well,
it
and I
does
think
require you to not buy into that messaging and not talk about it. You have to.
well, what I say to our girls, like at our brick and mortar spa location, is I say we're escape from reality. Like people
Yes,
come in here and let's not talk about what's going on in the news. Let's not talk about the negative things. Let's keep this light and fluffy in a way,
yeah,
right? Like you said, this
yeah,
is people's way of getting away from what's going on. And I think too, it's pampering. Everyone deserves it. People are taking time now to realize that how good they feel um, after not being able
definitely.
to get it done for so long.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, this summer, everyone was spending money like it was going out of fashion. Everyone wanted to go on their holidays. They wanted
Oh
to do
yeah,
the things that they want to do, and they still want to do that. You just need to be the person to provide that experience for them to want to keep doing it, because their husbands probably are rolling their eyes when they say that they're going to get their lashes done, thinking, oh, there's a recession and you're going to go and get your lashes done. They don't need you sitting talking about that to them as well, because that's going to make them feel guilty. That's going to make them think, oh, should I actually be here? And
yeah.
then they might not come back, but they probably won't stop having their lashes done. They're probably just going to go and find somebody else to
Mm-hmm.
do their lashes.
Well, I always joke too because I'm like, oh, if they can buy a case of beer, I can get my lashes done. That's how I like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right to make
yeah,
it adjusted to our lifestyle. Like, yeah, it might sound like I don't know, cliche in a way, but I feel like it's something that makes us feel better to make us just I don't know, it just gives you a little skip in your step. Having your nails done, having your lashes done, your hair done, you just feel so much better.
yeah. You just feel like you again, and that there's nothing wrong with that. That in fact is society and how we've been conditioned. That's what's also expected of us in some ways from partners and things like that. And if it makes you feel good, then people are going to pay it. It's going to be worth every single penny for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wake up and just magically have lashes on every day, right? Gotta go every couple of weeks to get them done. So
I must admit, I pull lashes out, so I don't even have my lashes done. I didn't even make it. So I had them done for the Toronto event,
Mhm.
and I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, I think on the Saturday before the event, and obviously jet lag. I literally just sat in bed and pulled them
Oh my
all out.
goodness.
And the girl that did them, she texted me. She was like, "Oh, I see the lashes didn't even make it to the event." And I was like, "No, it was way too many days
Oh
before."
my god.
I'm like the world's worst client.
It's funny because a lot of lash artists I know are the exact same, right?
Yeah,
It's part of the business, but
It
Um,
is.
to close things out, Sophie, too, I want to know a little bit more, just quickly, about the Millionaire Mindset Masterclass you have.
Oh, amazing. Yep. So that is a free masterclass for lash artists that are looking to create a consistent income in their business. So teach you lots of little different tips and tricks. And it's kind of relevant to wherever you are in your business, even if you are a lash artist, right up until a business mentor and things like that. So we go through some mindset hacks and tips and tricks that you can implement, and then some like strategy based things that you can implement into your business as well. Yeah.
And where can they find that? Where's the best way?
So if you head to the Lashfest Instagram, which is at Lashfest with 2 underscores after it, click the link in the bio, and if my mind serves me correct, it's the first button at the top, and it's instant access. So you just click on it, put your email in, and then it will take you straight through to the
Amazing. I'll
masterclass.
add, I should be able to find the URL. I'll add to the show notes as well below, so people can click on it to see more. And I'll put all your socials there as well. This is like such an incredible conversation. I'm so glad we were able to meet up and chat, because I feel like even though we're in different countries, it's still so relevant to anyone and everyone, because the lash world's a lash world, no matter where you are in the community.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's only like the governmental things that make it
Yeah,
slightly
yeah,
different, isn't it? The
yeah.
actual like running of the business and everything is the same. It's all relevant. And it's nice to hear about different trends and things like that. So yeah, it's super, super cool. Thank you
Amazing.
so
Well,
much for having me.
yeah, no worries at all. And I'm sure hopefully I'll meet you in person one of these days,
Yes,
hopefully one of these events.
hopefully.
So amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today, Sophie, and we'll chat soon, and all the best in 2023.
Thank you. You too. Take care.